Video Game Movie Gauntlet is a series in which we take a look at all these movies on Wikipedia and sometimes movies that aren't on this list. Try to figure out whether or not every single video game movie is bad. Answer is they are all bad, but we're going to take a look at every single one on this list in order to find this out. And that's really all I have to say. This is simple. This theme is Halloween since it's Spook Month, and let's get it over with. Sponsor time! What, you thought I wasn't gonna talk about sponsor time? Ha ha ha! Yeah, no. Check out my Ko-fi page, please. Okay, I'm begging you. I'm being evicted. Jokes aside, if you want to support me and the people behind these videos, then Ko-fi is the best way to show your support. Link will be in the description. And also, we have a Patreon now. I can finally afford a Patreon. Oh, whisper, what's that? I can't afford tears yet? Damn, that's a shame. Either way, donating to both of them is going to help us out a lot. So if you ever want to support us monetarily, boom, there's that. Once again, no need to donate. Liking, watching, commenting, just sharing, just anything. Just watching the video itself is already good enough for us, but if you want to do more to support us, then that's the best way to do it. Yeah, I hope you let's go back to the video. So unfortunately for us, the original isn't on streaming services. So yeah, this will have to do for now, until I get enough money to buy the movies I actually want to. And the worst part about this is that there are no free clips on YouTube, so I'm gonna have to use trailer footage for the majority of this section. I'm sorry, but there's not like there's much to say about this trash pile anyways. The biggest problem of this hot mess of a movie are the characters and how every single one is incredibly flat and pointless. I can use one word to describe every single character because that's how plain the characters are. I mean, we got the protagonist, black, nerd, dick, French, evil, priest, and the rest don't even have personalities whatsoever. Not like it matters since this movie kills everyone off so fast without us getting to know them. They show them in badass scenes and then kill them off in the middle of those scenes because I think the movie thinks that's satisfying even though it just feels pointless and rushed. Some of them don't even get that badass scene, and they get a scene to themselves in which they just die in a really pathetic way. The story is plain, as it's about these scientists who mess with alien tech that spawns these things that take people's souls and turn them into zombies? Yeah, cause we all know that that's the story of Doom. Dude, like in Doom, they're demons from hell who want to take Earth back. But in this movie, it's aliens from some moon who want Earth back, because these aliens helped humans progress or evolve. It's so stupid and confusing and basically uncanon, which is weird considering they got the cards from the games right. The soundtrack is disrespectful compared to the newer games, which they always have a badass soundtrack. I guess we must talk about a protagonist. So Doom Guy is now Doom Woman, which isn't a problem whatsoever. It's not the fact that it's a woman, it's the fact that the writing for the character is terrible in one note. I mean, there are situations where her friends are dying right in front of her, and she just goes like, "Aw man, that sure does suck. Oh well." I mean, she has one scene where she reminisces about this whole situation with her ex, but the direction makes it more awkward than anything, especially with what happens at the end, which is a whole thing on its own. It's so bad, but I would rather have you watch it. So spoiler warning for the end, although it's a terrible movie and you're probably not going to watch it anyways. Well, anyways, the end has our hero kill her ex, and this scene is so awkward with the terrible acting from literally everyone. This is supposed to be heartbreaking, but it ends up being more hilarious than anything. Then there's this scene of her being on the moon fighting a bunch of aliens. It is the most ridiculous thing ever, and it doesn't help that the CGI is terrible all throughout the movie. And there's sequel bait. That's that. Nothing else I need to... Oh, forgot to mention that the designs of the weapons and environment make this feel more like a TV movie than anything. No, a TV show with zero budget. I mean, did you see this BFG? Look, it's like the weakest thing I've ever seen, and the fact that the misrepresented the hell out of it. It just makes me want to die on the inside. I mean, just look at this compared to this. Yeah, bruh, the sets are just so plain. Oh god, the designs in the game are rustic or dark in some way. The designs in this movie are just so plain and boring, dude. I mean, there are 2 locations where the heroes fight in. It's the same location. Is it worse than Mortal Kombat Detective Pikachu? Yes, absolutely. It's boring and terribly written, although I'm excited for the sequel because of how shite it'll be. Move on. Let's move on to the next movie.
So the first movie I saw for this video is Dragon Quest Your Story on Netflix. And it's based on the story of Dragon Quest V, where the main protagonist honors his father's dying wish to look for his lost love. It doesn't have the exact same story as Dragon Quest V, but it does have some of the story elements from the original game. So those who have played Dragon Quest V for real can recognize some moments from the actual game. So one thing I really like about this movie is that the 3D animation looks very nice, and it really captures the whimsical nature of Dragon Quest very well. While it doesn't exactly capture Akira Toriyama's style very well, it does capture that whimsical nature of the series. There were a decent amount of action scenes in this movie, and I actually do think they look pretty good. But that's kind of where the pros end for this movie. So I watched the English dub for this movie, and the dubbing looks a little awkward since it doesn't exactly sync up, and I feel like in some scenes the characters are overperforming.
Ladja! What do you want with my wife, Ladja?
Because they would have like moments where they're speaking like really loud, but the character doesn't seem to be speaking very loud, you know? So it was kind of awkward. I also feel like the main character can be a little obnoxious at the beginning. I do think he gets a little better near like halfway, but at the beginning I kind of didn't like him. Another problem is just there's so much pacing issues. Like, for those unfamiliar with Dragon Quest V stories, all the time skips will be confusing since some characters are introduced that the main character is already familiar with, but the audience has never seen before unless you played the game. Like, for example, the prince that he breaks out of prison with at the beginning of the movie, you don't see him again till the very end, like the last scene of the movie, and it's like 30 minutes in the movie, there's like this blonde-haired girl that he gets married to, and it's like, you see her in the flashback. You see these other characters in flashbacks at the start, like the first 10 seconds of the movie, and it's like, you don't know them, but the main character does. Who is this Bulma chick? Who's this blonde-haired girl that, like, if you never played the game, you'll be lost. If you don't know anything about Dragon Quest V, then you will be confused. But now it's time to talk about the worst part about this entire movie, and the whole reason it is even featured in this video to begin with. The awful ending that killed this entire movie. So at the end, when the heroes beat the main villain and everyone's about to celebrate, it's like the whole world just like stops, like time stops, and everyone but the main hero is frozen in time. Then the whole world loses all its textures like it's a video game, and the hero's in this blank void with like this weird wireframe man who claims that he's the virus of this world. He then reveals that this entire world was in a VR simulation, and that the main character was just some normal dude in the real world who played this new VR version of Dragon Quest V that came out recently. But then the virus says 3 words that everyone has been quoting since this movie came out. Grow up, loser. I'll get back to that quote in a minute, but I'm a oh god, let me wrap this up real quick. So after the bad guy says that gem of a line, the main character then has this speech about, but the game is real to me, and honestly, that speech he gives, this whole situation would not be out of place in Sword Art Online. It is just as cringe as something that would happen in Sword Art Online, honestly. So then after the speech, the little slime buddy that the main character had for the whole movie reveals that he's actually like an antivirus or something, and then he like sacrifices himself so the world goes back to normal, and now the main character can live with this fictional waifu forever. The end. As I was watching this movie, I was thinking, this movie's just okay. Like, it's only a 6 out of 10 for me. But after seeing that ending, it went from a 6 to a 3. Like, not only did this ending ruin the whole movie, but not even the Japanese audience was messing with this either. Like, and the Japanese love Dragon Quest, so not even they were messing with it, which is hilarious. So overall, I can't really recommend this movie to anyone. Like, that ending just really invalidates everything, and with all the pacing issues and like, I can't recommend this to people who don't even play the games, or I can't even recommend it to fans either. Like, I can't recommend it to people who didn't play the games because, again, the pacing, the time skips and everything they wouldn't understand, and they don't understand how important Dragon Quest V was to a lot of people. So, or just the impact it would have on the game industry as a whole. So that I can't recommend it to them. And I especially can't recommend it to fans either, because the ending just is a whole middle finger to them too. They said, hey, you like our game? Grow up, loser. Like, Dragon Quest stories are simple, right? They don't do stuff like this at all, where it's like, oh, it was a simulation, but you have this ending where it's like, oh, you like this game, you only watch this movie because of nostalgia, you loser, you nerd, go outside. Like they didn't have to pull a Danganronpa 3 like that. They didn't. There was no reason to be like, oh, well, it was fake all along. This movie sucks. So overall, just don't. I can't even recommend it to fans of Dragon Quest V. I was going to until the ending. You're better off just playing Dragon Quest V or any other Dragon Quest game in general. Just don't watch this.
Have you followed my personal Twitter? What? You haven't even followed my Spoonballs United Twitter? What are you doing then? Sorry, I'm freaking out right now. I have a new series coming out that involves my personal Twitter. Link is in the description and right above you right now. Look behind you. If you don't follow it, I will have to kill you. I'm sorry. But basically, I'm doing this new series in which this challenge involves me asking people to reply to a certain tweet, and I will have to voice it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. The new series will be released pretty soon, and money is actually involved with it. The winner will get $10 to them and to a charity they want. So, boom! It's not only helpful to you, but it's also helpful to other people. It's only $10 for now because I'm poor, so that's all I can really afford. I mean, spending $20 a month on just challenges alone is a lot, but like, you know, I just want to do something nice for the community and, you know, use my platform to its fullest benefit. So if you want to get involved with that, my Twitter's in the description. So yeah, all the you'll find out more in the video that's actually about it. So yeah, let's go ahead and just get back to the video. So before I even talk about this movie, I have some things to say about this series since I've always had an interest in this game franchise, but unfortunately I've never been able to get into it since there are no good remasters or new games being made. I'm mentioning this because I feel like it's important to say that I don't have an understanding of this series, and yet it has always intrigued me, and it always will grab my attention with its aura or something like that. Just know this when I talk about this movie, because the concept alone has me feeling a bit conflicted with just everything about it. I mean, it's such a weird experience to play, let alone try to make a competent movie around, although this series has the potential to become a great movie franchise. And that's just with me playing the first game. And now, let's go ahead and talk about Silent Hill 2. Yeah, I know, another sequel. I wonder if it's any good. It wasn't. It was pretty bad, but I'll say this. The second half is fucking out there. I think I might have actually enjoyed this. I mean, don't get me wrong, this movie is terrible with the whole first half. Just all of it. The whole intro makes no sense whatsoever until later in the movie where you go like, okay. She wakes up in a dream within the dream, which is something they really try to bring up with this Shakespeare-ass dialogue.
No difference between fantasy and reality.
Nobody speaks like this. The dialogue between the main lead and supporting side are so weird and cryptic that half the time I have no idea what the hell they're even talking about.
What happened to the small talk? No, what's your favorite band? Do you Facebook? Nothing like that?
Fuck Facebook, do you?
I never think about it.
Everybody thinks about it.
No high schooler acts like this. There are more fake out jump scares than actual scary moments, and the moments that were meant to be scary ended up being unintentionally hilarious. This looks like a high budget movie, but there are so many stock screams and music added in post that I don't even know, man. The first half is just so painful with it all being so confusing plot-wise. I mean, the way it starts makes barely any sense, and the plot that's just thrown in is just as confusing as the stupid intro. Then there are the plot holes within this movie, cause, I mean, of course there's plot holes. It's Silent Hill. This man is in high school, but the plot twist that felt so rushed in is basically saying that shouldn't be possible. I'll explain it in a bit, but the way he talks throughout certain scenes is him just trying to explain what the hell is happening so the audience is less confused. It doesn't work. He ends up looking ridiculous.
We already talked about this. I have to.
Why can't you just trust me?
It's for my dad. You don't understand.
I do.
No, you don't. How could you?
Because I am a child of the Order.
So it's story time. The plot, it's all over the place with this story being kind of hinted at throughout the beginning. They never completely explain anything, and it's like they don't even understand what their own story is. There are more plot holes, like this child, where did she go? I mean, so basically, he just got out of Silent Hill to get the girl back into Silent Hill, but how did he end up in high school? That doesn't make any sense. What? I mean, the dialogue makes sense for someone who lived in that era their whole life, but why is she speaking like that? Better yet, everyone speaks like that, including these police officers.
That look like a gang tag to you?
I don't think so. But I've never seen anything like it. Call crime scene, get him down here.
What about the girl?
She's a murder suspect.
The whole first half of the movie is bad. The whole scene in a mall is fucking ridiculous, and the scene afterwards can't fix the mess I just witnessed. Sorry, getting off track again. This evil girl dies in Silent Hill and turns the town into hell for other people who were involved in the murder and just, actually the whole town in general. The evil girl has a baby or something, which is the good side left of her, and lets her live her life. Her father, or adopted father, is trying to find his wife who is stuck in Silent Hill. She finds this Jon Snow looking motherfucker, and they go off and do stuff. It's the worst, but it gets better somehow. Like, when they enter Silent Hill, some of the scenes are actually interesting, set design-wise. I like some of the monster designs, and some of the stuff is actually disturbing. I mean, the movie is best when there is no speaking, no plot, just terrifying shit being thrown at the wall. Not all of it sticks, but damn is it truly special when it does. The movie ends with this hugging competition and the father forever being stuck in Silent Hill. I actually like how ambiguous this ending is, and the last shot is actually nice. I would have actually enjoyed this movie if it wasn't for the first half.
So this next movie I'll be talking about is the Resident Evil movie, and honestly I kind of find it hard to talk about this movie because I think it had some potential, but I feel like because it had the name of Resident Evil, people saw it in a negative way. So in order to see where other people were coming from, I will rate this movie as an adaptation of the game. So instead of Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine being the main character, we follow a new character named Alice who, of course, has amnesia. The movie does start off in a mansion like the game does, but the majority of the movie takes place in like this underground facility below the mansion. And instead of following the members of STARS, we follow members of Umbrella, who also have amnesia as they try to figure out what caused the zombie outbreak in this underground facility. I think one of the most memorable aspects of this movie was actually the action scenes, because I think the action scenes are just better than the games, to be honest. But that's kind of like the only thing I kind of remember, to be honest, that I think is the most standout thing about this movie. So this movie tries so hard to be a scary movie, but it fails in every aspect. That there's so many jump scares that you see coming, and the jump scares aren't even that scary to begin with. The other characters in this movie aren't very memorable either. Like, I only know the main character's name, Alice, but the other characters, I can't remember their names. The dialogue is also really bad, but I guess that's one thing that's close to the games, I guess, is that the dialogue is not very good either. The CGI in this movie looks really bad. There's like this hologram of a little girl that you see a lot in the movie, and that looks awful, but what looks even worse than that is the liquor when it shows up. The liquor looks hilariously bad. It somehow looks even worse when it transforms, which I didn't even know was possible. I kind of have nothing else to say about this movie, other than I kind of feel bad about it. I feel bad because it feels like it's trying to be its own thing, but since it has the name Resident Evil attached to it, people associate it, of course, with Resident Evil, so they just immediately thought it was bad, since it didn't really have much correlation other than a few things. While I don't think this movie is great, I did kind of have fun watching this movie and just like trashing the bad parts of it. This movie actually did have multiple sequels, so who knows, I might talk about all of them later in the future. Actually, I have seen the second one, and that one is really bad, so I might talk about that one next time.
Drake is bigger than every single artist, and that is including acts such as Michael Jackson and the Beatles. Why? And how has this led to not only his downfall of quality, but actions that regard him as a bit of an asshole? There are many events to get through in order to get to where we are now, which is just a shallow, boring, lazy, and exploitative of a broken